Day after day and month after month, followed by year after year. Stuck on that moving line assembled in clear plastic, yet moving forward, yet capsized by fear spastic, fitting into a mold a stranger made for me. And even though it was made of silicone, it just wasn't fitting the shape of me. All the while, holding up that thick shell made out of candy, colorful and sweet, but somehow not knowing what the hell was going on inside of me. Empty. Well, until that day. And it's all because of you. See, I just walked up 3 flights of stairs that seemed to stare back at me, taunting with insignificance and disparity with every step. My friends had invited me to another party because they thought it would be good for me to stop being a loner and get out and see what's happening. It was the 3rd one this month. The first was a brunch, and the second was some sort of dinner party, and in their defense, all they really wanted from me was to meet someone, settle down, and start a family, which is all fine and good. But for someone who was pushing 30, I felt them trying harder than ever to squeeze me into that mold ever so tightly, hoping my life would turn out as rightly as theirs had. So I engaged. Awkward smiles, surrounded with astronomy as if they were trying to force the stars into aligning, and awkward chatting about the economy or something, and ironic icebreakers that were making things colder rather than warming things up. This isn't working. Sat down, counting the seconds till I could leave. I realized I could slip away without being noticed. Out by 9, I voted for Netflix. I mean, I've been here for a long time, pretty good. Maybe just 30 seconds to go, but why are you going home? Who said that? Something prompted me to stay, but I pushed it away like I knew better. Now, where was I? Yes, 10 seconds left. 10, 9, 8, 7. Houston, get ready for takeoff. It's time to start up those engines. 4, 3, 2. Stunned. I wasn't prepared for you. I remember the first time you walked into that room. It was June 22 as that hour loomed and everything stood still and my heart was consumed. The percussion of a completely new rhythm, the breaking in of light, something new prism, the sound of the sound of unlocking of rooms deep within me. Places undiscovered that I thought were just ruins of something empty new. To tell you the truth, I didn't know I was breathing until you walked into that room. And I was scared. But not scared enough, quite not scared enough not to stare as I gazed over at long flowing hair back and forth and back and forth and back again, hoping not to garner attention, feeling like a middle school boy stopped and frozen by my own insecurities with only nervousness exceeding my ecstasy. Do you like me? Check yes or no. Because in my day after day, I saw face after face, and none of them made an imprint, but you were different. You had time wrapped around your fingers, you made that moment linger still. But my mind, going 1,000 miles an hour like I opened too many tabs in my Google Chrome browser. Ooh, let's take a look at this one. Click. One focused on your hands, and how gracefully they dance as you talk with them. Click. This one on your eyes, and how they sparkle with the light like speckles in the midnight sky. Shooting star, make a wish. Click. And this one here, your smile and your lips. I found myself transfixed and unbeknownst to me, wanting to give you a kiss. Click. And 2 tabs over, I saw you looking over your shoulder at me. I averted my gaze as to pretend to be contemplating something deep, but this isn't me. I'm not the one prone to delusional fantasies, so I sat down. Undeniable though, I felt bravery welling up in me. I closed my eyes reckless, breathed in and out, restless, as I scrounged together those 20 seconds of insane courage that movie talks about. Standing again, I opened my eyes, and there waiting for me was not the surprise I wanted. As you were gone, and I didn't even get your name. First shock, and then denial as I scoured through the room if it was a cabinet full of files and not knowing which one was yours, and all of them was alphabetical, but to me your name was parenthetical as that girl. And when I realized that none of these files had your picture attached, I had to take a step back, and just my luck, I snapped back with the word No? I'm gonna keep this PG-13, but having believed this since I was 13, that guys like me don't get the girl, don't know how to flirt or lack an adventure with a day job living alone, and when the week is over, I'm just growing older with not much to show for it, so I pushed her out of my mind. But when I did, I came to find that another entity stepped up in line and said, "What if?" He said it in a whisper, but it sounded somewhat familiar, yes. It was the voice that tried to hinder me from leaving earlier tonight. And his ifs grew louder and louder, and each one gained more power than the last. What if? What if? What if? Like, what if she liked the same things we did? And what if we had another chance and we took it? And what if we found out her name? Convinced that I had to find her, I went walking around igniting conversations and striking that box with multiplicity, each time hoping for that phosphorus to catch fire and give me the spark that I wanted so desperately, but I was confused. As each aspect gave me more clues, but every interview gave me a different name. Like one guy said that her pen name was Story, and that her eyes had captured him and pulled him into the tale she was telling like she believed her own narrative. For she was story itself, plot and character twisted together with adventure leaping off the pages of her face. Another woman I talked to went up to her. She said it was unmistakable that the girl I was talking about was named Melody, that she was a singer, a songwriter, all in one. She could make a moment linger and unravel you undone. She was sound. She was high and low, wrapped around notes with crescendo crashing, giving life meaning, but you had to hear it to understand it completely. Then finally, the friend who invited me overheard my talking, so I unloaded everything on him, and he said, "Oh, you're looking for M." M? He said it was her nickname, that it was short for mover, as she couldn't stand still. And she talked with her hands because she still thought it a dance, but she had a way of sculpting the air and making something from space. And you could almost feel her movement as you watched the expression on her face, because she's a dancer. He said, "Bro, I don't really know her that well, but I'm pretty sure I could help you find her." I thought, yes, I'm closer. Still confused as why no one could produce a solid name for her, but deep down I knew that this was her nature, so I decided to keep looking. I felt this eerie presence, this coldness of breath. You know that feeling you get when you're being watched without your consent? I turned round to be confronted by a face across the room, looking as someone has already determined his fate, and the doctors told him there was nothing else they could do, and he'd been walking in death's gate for a while. Once he had my attention, he picked up his hand and with it began to fan, motioning for me to go over to him. Do not go over to him. There was that little voice again. He told me not to go over, that he didn't look like good news, but this time I pushed him aside again, and leaving him bruised like I knew better. And I walked over. He stared at me for a moment with his existential stare, accompanied second string by the sarcastic grin on his face, opened his mouth and outpoured the following. "I know the girl you're looking for, and her name is Creativity. And just try and not interrupt me because I can feel you. But I've danced with this girl long before you ever knew she existed, and I've been plagued with her sick, sadistic ways as she makes you think everything is beautiful, but it's a lie. She's just not that suitable, because it's pain with this one, because the more you engage, the more you create, and the more you create, the more you're enraged, as you have to embrace this pain to find anything authentic, and authentic comes at the cost of you. Like, who knew depression would become my best friend? And performance was defining me as I lay awake at night asking, who am I really? Or do people only like me when she's around?" He looked me up, down, and through and continued, "I don't think you'd have to worry about much anyway if you did engage her. Because in that face after face, she sees mugs like yours every day. Lackluster and generic. Oh yeah, this club is a bit more esoteric than you ever thought. Take it from me, forget her face, go home to the warm embrace of your couch lit up by the glow of your TV and fall asleep. So in summary, take your ass home and hit the street. I don't want to see you again." He walked away. but he'd already confirmed the fear I had in myself. I grabbed my coat and heard it raining and thought, how appropriate. As if fate couldn't give me a break for just one moment, I did not sign up for this. Headed for the stairs, and step after step, my heart wept as my eyes stayed dry, wondering if everything he said true and everything I felt a lie. Maybe beauty was just hope for the naive, and maybe the world was as cruel a place as he made it out to be. I thought about this girl, how everyone described a similar nature to me, but they named her differently. And maybe her facets were just meant to deceive, and she was a master illusionist who deserved a standing ovation for her convincing performance, and I walked right into her act. How could I be so stupid? Struck down and bruised, that voice made one last attempt to get my attention. It was quiet about the level of a whisper, but he said, "Do you still want to kiss her?" Yes? No. She's a joke, and I'm not going to be the one to fall for it. But all it takes is an idea to take you over completely, and deep down, I wanted to believe in this one concretely. And just then, I was back in high school and up on the stage, and the bell rang to start that dreaded class debate, and I never liked this class because I never had anything good to say, and I was about to meet my opponent, and they'd probably like him better than me anyway, and there he was, standing with his face cold and solemn, the man from earlier who had enlightened me a few minutes ago. And this time, he looked a lot more like me than I'd like to admit, ergo, I realized I'd have to confront myself. I didn't notice at first, but that small voice within brought a friend with him, and I called him conviction, and I said, I do not believe that creativity in all her beauty will lead me into pain. Now I do agree that she is a mystery, an enigma, constantly changing, waiting to be discovered, but I do not think she would lead me into pain. Now if I walked into a briar patch on my own authority, I don't think she'd hesitate to run in, grab my hand, and lead me out patiently, no matter how painful that walk is for the both of us. Constantly reminded of the truth and the goodness that are supposed to accompany her beauty, and if the three were trees, maybe truth and goodness got cut down, leaving beauty to fend for herself and leaving me confused on what she was truly meant to be. But maybe, just maybe, beauty will rise for sure and take the other two with her, and those three trees will be together again as I make my childhood dream of a tree house a reality, as I live balanced among their strong branches. I would rather try and fail and have a chance to tip the scale rather than sitting still and dying alone, because maybe my most beautiful moment is yet to come. With that, confidence made its home with me, and I continued down the stairs almost running, reached the first floor, swung open the door to that lobby, and there it was, the rain, and there she was, standing, waiting for me. She said, I've seen you multiple times, but never once did you notice me. I think it's just because you thought that I was out of your league, but that judgment was about you, not about me. See, Peter Pan, you grew up too quickly, lost your happy thoughts, and made false expectations your reality, and denied yourself permission to simply be. After all, you're a human being, not a human doing. But I can see now that that's shifting, and I'm inviting you to come and chase me fully if you dare. It's a fantastic game of hide and seek as we can learn what it means to live fully together, and it won't always be easy, but I promise it'll be worth it. With that, she walked over slowly, leaned in closely, and gave me a kiss. And time stood still again, and this time it felt like adventures. It felt like discovering caves and finding pirate treasures like the Goonies. It felt like camping under the stars and hearing them sing. It felt like being a Jedi and doing that flipping thing. It felt like childhood wonder reborn, and anything was possible, and I was more alive than I'd ever been. She leaned to my ear, spoke clearly to make sure I could hear, and she said, "You're it. With that, she was out the door and into the rain. I followed after, but I couldn't remain. As she slipped away, but the smile on my face didn't. Now I ask you, if you see her before I do, please tell me. And don't be deceived as she walks on the street, because you could miss something standing great right beside you because you're not looking. But she has a tell or two. Her sense of play and risk in the new make her unmistakable from view. After all, I think we all grew up a little too quickly. So are you living as fully as you want to be? Or are you coming up with excuses why you're not good enough to compete? Because you have to know that you're stronger than you look and you have what it takes. And that's the story of me. Because I actually don't know where I would be had I not gone after that girl named creativity. Thank you.